righty.
All right. Works with me.
How's it going, Cynthia and Charles?
Everything's well. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming from work or home?
Yeah, work. 5 o'clock. You know.
Yeah.
5.
Oh wow. You as well,
Same
Charles?
as well. Try to make it work for the schedule.
Absolutely. That's scheduling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what? How are you guys feeling today, Charles?
I mean, we're feeling good. After the first session, we picked up a few things from the last session and just went home and just,
Try to understand each other.
try to understand each other.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what about you, Cynthia?
Same. Just try to work together, communicate a little bit more,
Okay.
be better parents.
Because the parenting discussion was really prevalent the last session we had. And I know I gave you guys homework, which was mostly about your family history on discipline. Because the last time we talked about discipline, Charles's style, Cynthia's style, and there was some conflict there. And so we just wanted to get a little background information about how your parents discipline Charles, and then Cynthia, how your parents discipline. And so, can you tell me about the homework?
Well, we kind of already knew that going into the first session, how I was disciplined and how she was disciplined.
Okay.
So we the homework kind of already happened before the homework.
Okay.
So, we just went back and got clarification.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about your mom's style of discipline.
My mom, she didn't get angry a lot. She reached a boiling point, to the point where, it's like I tried the common sense way, but now it's like I don't know what else I got to do to get you to understand.
Okay.
So it became a little bit more aggressive.
Okay.
Because she felt like I wasn't getting it through the proper channels of being disciplined.
So your mom was more of a talker, you're saying, and then she would resort to more
talker, yes,
or
yes.
more strict discipline.
Correct.
And what about your dad?
My dad, he was kind of like the same way, but I didn't really feel much of a threat from him.
Okay.
Because it was like barely there, so it was like really you can't tell me anything. So it was just one of those things where I always ran to like my mom for like if I had a problem or get in trouble at school. I always say, hey, might as well call my mom.
Okay.
And it was just to call my dad, you know what I'm saying? So he tried, but it was the same way as hers. His was just less effective because it didn't mean much.
Okay. And then Cynthia, tell me about your parents' style of discipline.
My parents had very different styles. My mom, she was, I guess a good word is passive. She let me get away with a lot, me and my siblings. And she would get frustrated eventually at the end, but she would never resort to any physical whippings or harsh punishments. But she would turn it over to my dad, and that's when he would step in. And we knew once he got involved that it was serious business.
So your mom didn't say anything, or did she at least talk?
She would, not really. She would say it was right and wrong, or what I should and should not be doing. But I would listen. Sometimes, most of the times, I would listen, but sometimes I still have my own way of handling things, and which wasn't the right way. So that's when my dad stepped in, and I knew better. I didn't.
Okay. So tell me, how does your parents' style of discipline reflect in your relationship?
It's
which parent are you? Is what I was gonna ask.
I'm probably I'm a little bit of both. More towards my mom than my dad, because I'm not quick to jump to level 10. I start at 1, and eventually, if I'm not getting to where I think we should be, then eventually I'll get to, that the next level, which is, the harsher punishment. But from the beginning, I try to be more expressive, try to, talk and get my child to understand what's right and what's wrong without being aggressive.
Okay.
And jumping from 1 to 10, 0 to 100, however you want to word it. But yeah, I would say I'm more my mom.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, my dad, that's what he did. That's why I probably would rather have been disciplined by my mom, because now that I think about it, he did just jump straight to 100.
Oh, really?
Now that I think about it. Yeah, he did just jump straight to 100.
Okay.
But
there was no in between.
I kind of see that now, and I was afraid for him to get the phone call that I was in trouble.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Fine, that's what it is.
Okay.
So I was fearing more of the straight to 100 approach versus the let's talk 20 times before you get it right. So I think that's why I am the way I am now. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, he was straight to 100.
Okay, so talk to me about that, because you seem like you a light bulb went off, and I'm like, how do I connect this?
Yeah, because I was just trying to figure out. I was trying to include him into my life and what we can talk about. But now that I think about it, he went straight to it.
Okay.
And I was more afraid of that.
Okay.
So maybe that's why I do my daughter like that, because that's what it is.
So you say you're more of your dad's style. You go straight to 100.
Because that's what I was most feared of.
Okay.
And I didn't want to get in trouble.
Okay. And so you know that to be effective, and so that's the style you use.
Exactly. Thanks for coming here. That helped me out right there. Yeah. That's what it is. When I get in trouble in school, I would say, call my mom.
Okay.
Because I know she's not going to do it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So now that you have this revelation, you've grown to understand you. Since you have this light bulb moment. Tell me about Cynthia and her discipline style and how it causes conflict between you guys.
It causes conflict because, like I say, I've learned from her as far as not jumping to 100.
Okay.
So, but sometimes I can't help it. Like sometimes, depending on what was done, sometimes I do jump straight to 100.
Okay.
And that's where the conflict comes between me and her, because,
there's never an in between.
Yeah. So
There's no teaching to me. That's what it looks like from the outside.
But as well as learning, as well as our daughter's learning from us, I'm also learning as well how to deal with it as well.
Okay.
So it's like I understand her method, but she doesn't understand my method.
Okay.
So that's where we clash. I understand yours.
Well, I'm not a pro. This is my first child too, just as well as it's yours. So, I mean, my learning, I'm just as green as you are. Like, I don't have any more experience than what you have. Just the way I choose to go about it is just different than the way that you chose to go about it.
And that difference.
But I'm not.
That difference causes conflict between you guys.
Yeah.
How has it hurt your relationship?
Because she allows the way I discipline our daughter she allows it to affect our personal relationship.
Okay.
Like, if she see me yelling at my daughter in an aggressive way, and I try to show compassion towards her, she'll jerk back. After you know, it's like, how are you allowing me discipline our daughter affect our relationship? Like, that's what makes me mad, because
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't know. Maybe I try to see things through her. I don't know. Maybe I guess I just take it personal. I don't know. I guess.
But you do recognize.
I
that.
do.
Yeah.
I do that, and I can't help it. That's just the way I feel. I'm irritated at that point because I feel like you could have handled the situation a little bit differently. So.
And so, based on Charles's reaction to, Stacy, you guys' 4-year-old daughter, that causes some frustration, agitation, like you said, anger, and you'd much rather not deal with Charles at all,
right?
Based on that.
Because I feel like I've already. That's it. That's probably not right. Like I've already told you. I guess it's probably not even my place to tell him what's right and what's wrong, because I'm not a professional either. It sounds a whole lot worse coming out my mouth. But I told you, I'm just going on and say, if I told you once, I don't feel like I should have to tell you again the way to handle this situation. And if I have to keep telling you, then now I'm mad. I'm irritated because I told you don't do that the last time, and you did it anyway. So now I'm irritated.
But if I keep trying your method, and in my head, if I keep trying it and it ain't working, hey, let's try my approach. So even though you told me last time, it's like, I tried that last time.
But I don't see that you tried it.
Because
to me, you
always
never tried it.
That's
so.
right.
So let's look at this. You guys have the ability to, or you want what's best for Stacy. We can all agree on that.
Absolutely.
That you want to discipline her effectively so her behavior can reflect the values and morals that you guys have. And that's important to you. It means a lot.
Absolutely.
To the point where Cynthia will not communicate or doesn't want to be bothered with Charles if that discipline is not done the way she feels it should be done.
And a lot of it, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
And a lot of it, I think, has to do with probably myself, because I see a lot of myself in her. And when I was a kid, I was always considered like the mean little girl. I was always like the one who want to fight, and I was just very attitude-ish. And even though I didn't feel that, that's how my facial expression, maybe I did feel, I don't think I felt that way, but a lot of people thought I carried an attitude, but I really didn't, based off of, I guess my expressions, and maybe I was angry, I probably was, but I don't want her to be like that. I don't want her to be the kid who has known to have the attitude of to be like, well, don't mess with her, or she always standing in the corner by herself, or always, alone, because people are scared of her because they think that she's just mean. And I don't want that for her. So I try to go about a different way. I try to handle her in a different way that's not so aggressive and not so mean. So
you don't want that to reflect in her attitude.
Right.
So with the way Charles disciplines, you get upset about it because you feel like he's reinforcing that attitude that you once had as a child, and it's going to reflect in her, and then she's going to be the same way.
Right.
Yeah. And so with Charles, it doesn't sound like that's his goal, what he's trying to do, but obviously that's how it comes out.
Yeah, but to me, I see that that's where it's going. Because based off her interaction with other people, with other children, she's always, from the beginning, she's doesn't look nice to people. She doesn't smile when she first meet people or anything, and I don't want her to be like that. So I don't want her to come off as an angry little girl, like a mean little, muggish little child. You know, I don't like that because that's how I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that for her. So I try to go about things a little bit differently. So.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, you see some of yourself in her. I see some of myself in her as well, because I knew what it's like hand in hand to have anger issues. Like, I struggled with it at 31.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I didn't have anybody there to help me with my anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, experiencing anger issues, I know the older you get, the worse the consequences are going to be if you don't tackle it at a small age.
Okay.
So, you know, that's just my thing. I'm just trying to tackle the anger issues now, because I don't want it to be years and years and years of anger till she's 18 and then she's can't control her anger.
And I agree that it needs to be tackled now, but I just don't think that she's already angry. So why express more anger towards her? That's just gonna make her 10 times more angry, in my opinion. So I don't think that's a smart way of going about it. You need to go the opposite way and teach her how to be something different other than angry.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about what you're saying? Charles, what you think about what Cynthia's saying?
I mean, I understand, because we both after the same goal. That's to, you know, make sure our daughter has, you know, pretty much the best life possible.
Right.
You know, so I'm not going to disagree with that. It's just one of those things where our teaching methods clash. That's our biggest issue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, us clashing is not helping her grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I agree.
It's not helping her
Okay.
see what's best.
Okay.
So, and we don't do things in front of our daughter, like argue. We don't, you know, not that I know of. I don't think we really argue like that in front of her. So it's just one of those things where it's like, where are you picking this anger up from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Who you getting it from? What you seeing is something you watching? Do we need?
That's why I start to believe that it was maybe it's I don't know if it's genetic. I don't know if that has anything to do with genes, but I know, like I said, I can see myself in her because I was the same way. I mean, I don't recall like throwing fits and different stuff like that, but I carried that same expression and gave people that same feeling when I first met them, when I was first introduced to people. So I tried to just avoid that.
What I see is you both have that fear that she'll grow up to be like you. Mm-hmm. And that fear is so strong that you allow miscommunication or friction to exist between the both of you because of that. Mm-hmm. And that runs pretty deep. So tell me about, is your relationship happy? And if it's not, do you want a happy relationship, Charles?
You're asking if we happy? Like,
yeah.
Together?
As a couple or as a family?
As a couple, you two together. Mm-hmm. Not even talking about Stacy right now.
We can be happy, if that makes sense.
You're not answering my question.
So
it's okay to be honest.
Yeah,
it's okay to be honest. It's okay.
No, I'm not happy.
Okay. Do you want to be happy?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I should have said that.
Yeah. You can be honest. Yeah.
My feelings not hurt.
Same for you, Cynthia.
Yeah, no, I'm not happy. But I know that we do have the potential to be happy.
Okay.
So that's why I know that a lot of what we go through is because of her. Because when she's not here, we happy. We good. We play, laugh, understand each other's jokes. But when she come, it's sad. I don't know if it's sad.
Very
but
sad.
when she comes, then it's like we separate. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That's what we do. The reason why I feel like we separate, because it's like, who gonna get left alone with her? And who gonna deal with it that time? So like, every man for themselves. Whoever she go after, that's who she go after.
So, happiness, okay, equals performance and expectation. Okay? So now you see what the equation is for happiness. A lot of people, especially couples, a lot of times they're unhappy because their significant other is not living up to what they think their expectation is. So, say for instance, Cynthia, you said Charles doesn't discipline the way you discipline. So that has an effect on how you communicate with him, whether you want to be bothered with him or not. And then Charles, you have an issue with the way Cynthia disciplines. And it bothers you. It bothers you.
I don't have a, let's for the record, I don't have a problem with the way she disciplines. This is, how long are we supposed to discipline her like that? And she keeps doing the same thing over and over again. Like, I don't have a problem
with my technique.
No, I don't have a problem with it.
I have a problem with how long I go about handling it.
No, what I'm saying is like, how long are we going to continue this process? Your technique, if every day she's still coming home doing the same stuff. Like, how long do we have to keep doing this until another approach is tried, another method is tried?
So you want to try at least another method?
Yeah, we even tried.
Right.
That lasted like a day, but
right.
You know.
So the expectation is you want to do something else to help Stacy. You want her to be a better child, and you want to try another method. Cynthia feels the same way about how you discipline. Okay, so that expectation is what's causing the friction, because you want him to do it your way, and you want her to try your way, at least try your way, right? Or let's do something else. So the expectation you have for each other is what's causing the conflict.
I'm willing to admit my method is wrong. I'm willing to admit that. So I'm not even asking her to try my method. I'm just asking her to understand the method. I'm not telling her to, hey, come home and just start yelling. Understand why I do it. I'm not asking you to try it. Just
furthermore, that lets me know that you know is wrong.
No, I mean, what I mean by wrong is like, nobody wants to yell at their kid. Nobody wants to get inside of their 4-year-old's face and be a military person. Nobody wants to do that. But if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. So that's what I mean by when I say it's wrong. You shouldn't have to be in a 4-year-old's face like this, telling them, stop doing what you're doing. It's wrong, but if I feel like that's what I got to do to get through to you, then hey, nobody wants to discipline a kid like that. Right. But what else I'm going to do? Right. So that's what I mean by wrong.
So you're willing to try something different?
Yeah.
Me?
You're willing to, you still expect him to try and adapt to your way of this?
I do, honestly.
Okay. So the expectations, you guys have different expectations.
Yeah.
And that expectation is what caused the conflict. And so it has an effect on how you communicate, which is your performance. And so not only that, it has an effect on how happy you are in your relationship. And so how do we get past that point? How do we look at more at the performance, the showing each other I care, showing each other that we'll work it out. We'll figure out together how to discipline Stacy in an effective manner.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you have this expectation of him, and as long as he has this expectation of you, and you both are like, y'all wrong, you wrong. You can't get past you can't resolve it. For one, you can't resolve it, and then for number two, it's leading to that unhappiness.
Okay. I see that.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't know. It's just like,
I understand.
yeah, I understand, but my technique, we both can agree that our techniques are different. Like,
you keep going back to that. That's already
what,
understood.
right? But what I'm saying is like, if I told her, if she keeps breaking stuff and throwing things, stuff that we buying her, I'm not gonna buy nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But she tells me that's not gonna help nothing.
Because the stuff you throw away is stuff that I feel like helps her develop. He threw away crayons. I don't agree that crayons should be thrown in the trash. So now she don't have crayons. Crayons is how she developed her creativity, how she learned to write, how she learned how to coordinate colors and different stuff like that. So that's one thing I think that probably could have been kept up, put in the closet for a minute until you can monitor her while she's coloring.
It's not
but
like,
that it wasn't to be thrown in the trash.
Right. But it's not like I went in her room and
But you give her the phone. She throw the phone on the floor 6, 7, 8 times, but you on the ground outside. But you still give that to her because it's something that keeps her calm while you watching TV.
So how do we get past that?
I think we need to meet in the middle. We should compromise probably on a certain level. It's easier said than done. I know that's probably the right way to go, but it's not that easy.
I'll try her technique, and I'm willing to attempt to get rid of my technique, but I also want to bring other techniques to the table.
And I agree with that as well. But the thing about it is that I agree that, maybe we should try something different, but we have to be consistent. You can't try something one day and then give up on it the next day. Because she's never going to learn.
And
I understand I probably fall short in that area too. We both do. So that's probably something that we do need to change.
We attempted to do a sticker chart. Because apparently it's always like, I'm sorry.
She doesn't like sad faces.
Stacey doesn't like sad faces.
Yeah, she doesn't like sad faces. So at school she's an angel. So it's like, what they doing we can't do right. So it's like, I try to implement that school setting here. I attempt to get a chart, and I tell her at the end of the night, depending on how you act, you either gonna get a sad face or you gonna get a happy face.
Yeah, but we weren't consistent. With that.
But I feel like maybe that would have worked because
I believe so.
I feel like that technique would have worked if we would have stuck.
But it was more work for us, so we kind of gave up on it. I can honestly say.
Yeah.
So that's where we fell short.
So you both have been trying. Based on what you're saying, you both have been trying. I can't say you haven't. And by you two agreeing, you two can't say that you both haven't been trying. But the expectation, again, is that if we do it a certain way, then we should be okay. She should learn, and we should be okay. But there's no acceptance of, I discipline one way, and Cynthia disciplines the other way. Yeah, that doesn't exist. There's no understanding there, and that causes conflict.
Yeah,
it causes huge conflict and tension, and so that communication is something we need to really work on.
Okay,
we need to really work on that. So that's it for today.
Okay.
That's it for today. And then I'll see you guys in another 2 weeks. Preferably a Saturday. 2 weeks Saturday.
Saturday is perfect.
5 o'clock at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are looking at discipline of Stacy. That's one issue we need to address. And then now that we've had the second session, we want to work on communication. Okay. You guys did a great job. Great job. Thank you for your openness. I know there was some, one or two questions you didn't want to, really divulge the answer.
Maybe next session.
But you guys did really good. It's gonna be work. It's gonna be work. But as long as you're willing to stay committed to the process, there's hope. You can get through this. You definitely can get through this. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Any questions or concerns?
As of right now, no.
Any feedback? Any feedback in the presentation from myself today? Anything you wish we would have covered that we didn't?
No, I got my clarification on why I do what I do.
Yeah, I have a better understanding of some things, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, see you guys in another 2 weeks.
Okay, Vicky.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you for your time.